Welcome to the Subpod community. Today I'm going to show you how to add your worms into your Subpod Mini. Here's what you're going to need: a banana peel, some coconut core for worm bedding material, water, worm blanket, 500 to 1,000 worms, and your Subpod packaging.
You might be thinking, can't I just use the worms from my garden? The worms found in your garden are likely earthworms, not composting worms. The big difference between them is their appetite for your food waste. Here's a nerdy fact: earthworms get full pretty quickly, but composting worms can consume their own weight in food waste every day, making these guys the right worm for the job.
Step 1. Add your worm bedding material. We highly suggest using coconut core for the primary source of your worm bedding material. This is because it allows oxygen to come in and it also stays moist to keep your worms happy. It's highly likely that your coconut core comes dehydrated. To hydrate it, simply read the instructions on the back of the packet. To give you an idea of the consistency we're looking for, simply squeeze the coconut core and a couple of drops of water should come out. This lets you know that there's enough airflow and moisture so your worms will be happy. Add in the entire block of coconut core, or roughly about 8 good handfuls. You can't really overdo it here. It's also a great time to add in the cardboard packaging from your Subpod. Tear it up into tiny pieces and add it in there as well. Your worms love a bit of diversity. Step 2. It's time to add your composting worms. If you've purchased less than the recommended amount, 1,000 worms, then you'll just need to go a little bit easy on the feeding until the population builds up. After you've added your worms, it's best to add a banana peel or a handful of soft food waste. This will be the only amount of food waste you feed your worms for the first week as they're still settling in. Step 3. It's time to lay down your worm blanket. To help the worms settle in, it's good to do a light sprinkle of water on the worm blanket. The purpose of the worm blanket is to lock moisture in the system, but as your worm population builds up, the moisture in the content of the food waste is generally enough, so you won't need to worry about it as much. It's important to note that your worm blanket is made out of 100% organic material, so your worms will eat it over time. Great job! Now just remember, it's important not to feed your worms anymore in the first week, or else they might get a little bit overwhelmed. So just settle in and then watch the next video to find out how.